Hello everyone and welcome back to Coach Craig's Sports. Today is Friday, September 9th, and this is the MLB DFS video for today. So in today's video, we'll be taking a quick look back at yesterday's picks, seeing how they turned out, talking about my core plays for today's slate. It is a 12-game main slate overall, and then going over to my article over at WeBetATS.com and talking about my top GPP stacks for today. But without further ado, we'll get started with a recap of yesterday's picks. At the pitcher position, we had Dylan Cease at $10,800. Got to 55 points yesterday, so he was a hit in the top overall pitcher on yesterday's slate. At first base, we had Jose Abreu, $3,300. Got to 6 points, so he was a push yesterday. Not anybody that set our lineup over the top, but definitely not anybody that hurt us at the same time. Then at third base, we had Jose Miranda at $2,600. Got to 3 points, so he was also a push. Then at shortstop, we had Carlos Correa at $3,200. Got to 22.2 points, so he was a hit in the second overall shortstop on yesterday's slate. Pretty decent day out of him yesterday. And then last but not least, we had Eloy Jimenez in the outfield at $2,600. Got to 28.4 points, so he was a hit in the top overall outfielder overall. So yesterday ended up being a pretty good day in terms of core picks. If we would have got to Yoan Moncada as your utility or at third base instead of Jose Miranda, you were on a really big day. But there's some pretty good plays out there. Obviously, the condensed slate adds a little bit less variance than on other slates as well. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my core picks for today. So we're going to start off with the pitcher position with Frankie Montas is $8,900, averaging about 28.5 fantasy points per game on the season. Goes against the Tampa Bay Rays. This was the most recent team he pitched against. He did very well versus them the last time out, and he's had 3 good starts overall versus them this season, so why not go back once again today? Then we move down to first base with Rhys Hoskins at $2,900, averaging over 10 fantasy points per game on the season. Going against the Washington Nationals and Patrick Corbin today. Obviously, Corbin's had a very, very rough season, although his last 2 starts have been a little bit better, but Rhys Hoskins is 10 for 30 with 3 home runs versus him in his career, so some pretty good upside there. And then a $2,900 price tag, pretty reasonable paydown spot for him as well. Then we move over to third base with his teammate Alec Bohm, $2,900 as well, averaging about 9 fantasy points per game on the season. Also going against the Washington Nationals and Patrick Corbin, he is 5 for 14 with 2 home runs versus him in his career, so offers some pretty good upside there as well. Then we move down to shortstop Bo Bichette at $3,900, averaging just under 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He's been hitting the ball extremely well as of late, as you see with that increased price tag of $3,900. Goes against the Texas Rangers. It's Dane Dunning pitching today, and he's 3 for 5 with 2 home runs versus Dane Dunning in his career, so there is some pretty good upside there once again today. And then last but not least, we have Ronald Acuna Jr. at $3,900, averaging just under 11.5 fantasy points per game on the season. He's going against the Seattle Mariners and Robbie Ray tonight, and he is 5 for 9 with 3 home runs versus Robbie Ray in his career, so definitely a ton of upside there once again. Pretty much every hitter we picked today is guys that have very good history versus patch pitchers, and it's a lot of upside with some home runs as well. So hopefully that pays off overall on today's slate. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that do have listed here, you'll have $12,500 remaining, just over $3,100 per player. So definitely an opportunity to pay up for another hitter if that's something you really want to do. Or if you want to take a little bit more balanced approach, that's definitely viable on today's slate as well. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my article over at WeBetATS.com and talk about my top GPP stacks for today. So the stacks that I do have for today are going to be the Houston Astros. They are going against the Los Angeles Angels, and Michael Lorenzen is on the mound. Very limited history versus him, but the history they do have versus him is very, very good. He's struggled in both starts this year versus this Houston Astros team, and he's also coming off the IL, so we'll see how far he pitches into the game. And the Angels bullpen's nothing to write home about as well. And then we have the Dodgers going against Mike Clevenger of the San Diego Padres. They have hit him quite well in the past, but some of note, this game could have some rain today, so maybe a game that you don't want quite as much exposure to, but if it does end up happening, Dodgers are a team that I definitely want to stack once again today. Then we have the Toronto Blue Jays going against the Texas Rangers and Dane Dunning. They've hit him pretty well as a small sample size in the past, although they have not faced him this season. And then last but not least, we have the Boston Red Sox going against Austin Vuth. Another one with very small sample size, but the Red Sox have hit him pretty well in the past as well. So some pretty interesting stacks overall today. Not the biggest amount of history there for most of these teams, but definitely a lot of upside as well. But with that being said, these are my core 5 picks as well as top GPP stacks for today, September 9th. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to leave them down in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Also, be sure to let me know your favorite play on tonight's slate, whether it's someone from my core 5 picks, whether it's someone from my top GPP stacks, or whether it's a completely different player you guys think I missed. Definitely interested in hearing what you have to say. But with that being said, if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. It helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers. Helping you with your DFS. Primarily, it's been MLB DFS, but this is the first week of the NFL. So I will be having a MLB DFS core play video coming out tomorrow, highlighting some of my favorite plays for both FanDuel and DraftKings. And then once we get back around to the NBA regular season, I'll be covering that as well. And then with that being said, if you're a new or current subscriber who's yet to do so, also be sure to hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I post up a new video. Like I've been saying, I post up daily MLB DFS videos just like this, as well as some NFL DFS content. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And then last but not least, special shout out to each and every one of you watching today's video. I truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Definitely means a lot to me, and I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your day.